going on, Blossom's back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives and another episode of What Can You Get From That Pack. It's almost like Hutch has heard the complaints of how absolutely shit what was that pack? I can't remember even remember what it was called. I paid no attention. The Weekend Warrior pack. What was that, family style? The garbage fiver, as SoFanny calls it. Because after that atrocity of what you can even call half of a carbon fiber, they've actually released something really freaking good. I've never seen a carbon fiber like this before. This is the first time I'm actually seeing a four-wheel drive standard tire carbon fiber being released, because I've seen wet weather premiums and wet weather carbon fibers. And for those that don't know, wet weather is just a fun name to describe standard tires only. But this is the first time where we're only seeing four-wheel drive standard tires. At least that's what the pack suggests. Yes, I just had to double check, and that is indeed what the pack in the store suggests. Four-wheel drive and standard tires. It seemed too good to be true. I had to take a double take. But anyway, I'm going to be reviewing all the cars in here today, and I want to say straight off the bat, this is like the perfect pack to open if you are a beginner or mediocre or intermediate player, okay? Like, if you've only been playing for like a year and a half or less, or maybe even 2 years, depending on if you're a free-to-play or a pay-to-win, this is like the ideal pack for you to open. Because the main reason is four-wheel drive standard tires is one of the most reliable niches that the most dependable niche that you can, rely upon in top drives. Because, when there's any rain event, you basically want to go any rain event with no drags and just, turns, anything from a hairpin road to a G-force. Really, what you are looking for are the four-wheel drive standard tire cars. So this is a very reliable niche. If they made a pack specifically for rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive standard tires, that would be absolutely garbage. There would be like two great cars, like the Maybach and the Caterham, and maybe the Infiniti G37. But most of the cars that you will get from that is garbage. This one is the polar opposite of the rear-wheel drive carbon fiber for standard tires. This one is where most of the cars are actually really freaking good, and only very little are kind of bad. So here are the ranks. Pretty interesting. I changed it up a little bit. I took away Pernicious Ulcer because I don't think that there are going to be a lot of bad cars. So if you're just bad, you're just going to be a hot garbage, and everything else would be pretty decent. You have Frequent Provider, which is a pretty decent rank. You have Daily Driver, which is a good rank. Der Kaiser, which is usually the best rank. But then we also have Blossom Choice, which really personifies the best of the best. So once again, if you are a brand new player, this is a pack that I would definitely endorse you to open, because although you may not like some of these cars, because they're not really enticing, right? They're not hyper cars, they're not supercars. If you're just looking for cars that will get you value in the game, in events, and in clubs, in single player, and Yellowbird campaigns, this would be the pack that would guarantee probably the highest outcome of satisfaction, if that makes sense. Obviously, it's kind of funny. We've had some really good packs since the introduction of that atrocious garbage fiber, whatever Weekend Warrior pack it was, because I think at the same time there were Dodge carbon fibers that were out for a while. I didn't open them, but because I'm saving gold. And also Motorsport carbon fibers. So it's kind of funny, man. Like, the timing is kind of sus. But let's get into it. Legacy BW 100% Blossom Choice. This is an epic killer, okay? 1,714 kilograms, which is relatively heavy. But when you look at the years, for most of these four-wheel drive standard tire cars, they're going to be very heavy anyway. So it isn't really too bad of a thing. 56 MRI, which is nothing. But what really makes this car stand out is the low 0 to 60, 6.1, 78 handling, and four-wheel drive and center tires. That combination, it's a killer combination. This thing kills epics, okay? It even kills legendaries. It actually kills the only legendary that you can get from this pack, which is the BMW, but we'll get to that in a bit. So yeah, really, really strong car, this one. Second one is the Subaru Levorg. That's going to be Der Kaiser. Now, I know what you're thinking, Blossom, how is this not Blossom Choice? The best analogy I can give you for this Subaru Levorg is I was thinking about putting it in Blossom Choice, but, Blossom Choice, it goes down to the top 25 ultra rares out there. Maybe when I do the Blossom Choice update for whenever the next update is going to be, I am thinking about replacing the Opel Atom, because I feel like the Opel Atom, we talked about it in the Ultra review with Canon, it doesn't seem to be that amazing, because the Corsa is basically, you would go fight tooth and nail to try and use the Corsa anyway. So I might replace the Atom with the Levorg, so maybe in a future date, then this would actually literally be Blossom Choice and I'll move it up. But for now, I'll put it into Kaiser just because it isn't on the active Blossom Choice list currently, but it's still a fantastic car. The best analogy I can give to this, like I said at the start, is like, oh, you got rejected from Harvard, but you got into Yale and Princeton and Columbia. I'm only saying saying that because I actually have a friend that was, you know, rejected from Harvard, but he was incredibly smart. 4.0 GPA throughout all 4 years. He did sports, everything. He was in part of every club at high school. But he got rejected from Harvard. I don't know why, but he got into Yale, he got into Columbia, he got into Brown, Princeton. So, you know, still really, really good. So yeah, Super Levorg, definitely Der Kaiser. It's a fantastic machine. Handles even better than the Legacy. Really, really cheap to use. 64 MRA. It's quite light too, coming in at 1,564 kilograms, but it is very, very slow, coming in at 7.8 0 to 60. But that doesn't really matter when it comes to four-wheel drive standard tire medium ground clearance cars, because their focus are on the twisty wet stuff. So 0 to 60 isn't, you know, the most important thing in the world. Next up is going to be the Acura ZDX. Now the Acura ZDX is probably the heaviest of the bunch, second heaviest, coming in at 2,007 kilograms, so 2 tons. Once again, four-wheel drive standard tires. I think I should stop saying that because they're all four-wheel drive standard tires. Once again, it handles okay, 74 with 6.5 0 to 60. I would say that it's a daily driver, maybe a frequent provider as well. I'm going to put in daily driver for now. I might switch it up in a bit. Next is the BMW 520D X Drive. That is definitely Der Kaiser. Honestly, this is like my go-to four-wheel drive standard tire German ultra rare. If I need to use a German ultra in the rain, this is always going to be the one, and that's why I've been farming that one Yellowbird race. I think it's Yellowbird 8 in the final sector, where you can actually get the BMW 520D at a 10% chance. I was farming that until I basically got 6 of them. I currently have 4 of them max in my garage, if I believe myself correctly, and 2 are stock, or 3 are max and 3 are stock. It's one or the other. It might even be 5 are max. I don't know, man, but it's such a dependable car. It comes in at 1,695 kilograms, 76 handling, which is really good. I think it's 84 when you get to max it out, 84, 83. 7.2 0 to 60 isn't very high, but that doesn't matter once again, because you want that combination of handling, four-wheel drive, standard tires, and medium. If you have those 4, you're immediately Der Kaiser and above. Next up is the Cadillac CTS Coupe, and again, it's going to be Der Kaiser. In fact, this used to be Blossom Choice. The Citadel as well. Both of these cars are ex-Blossom Choices. The only reason why they've both been kicked out is because the Legacy BW is just that freaking good. I mean, when you compare the CTS and the Legacy, look at this, right? 1 RQ difference, and the 0 to 60 is 0.6. Same handling as well. But then again, the Cadillac, you're going to get 61 MRA, and the Chrysler, you're going to get 63. Both of them are 1,800 kilograms. But they both handle pretty well. The Citadel, though, less handling, but a really low 0 to 60 of 5.8 seconds, the lowest that we've seen so far on this list. Next up is the Citroen Metropolis. Now, the Citroen Metropolis is going to be the first hot garbage. Might only be the only hot garbage. Now, hear me out. There isn't really anything good about the Citroen Metropolis because, first of all, it has a low 0 to 60, yes, but it has atrocious handling, even worse than the Citadel, and that is 1 RQ cheaper. Now, I know it's faster to 60 compared to the Citadel, but then again, it's heavier. It's really, really heavy, coming in at 2,100 kilograms. Also, it has no MRA at 51 compared to the Citadel 63, so that's a pretty big difference, especially since the Citroen Metropolis is 1 RQ more. But the main thing that really brings it down to hot garbage is it's literally the same RQ as the Subaru Legacy, and when you shine the Metropolis and the Legacy under the same light, you can definitely see that the Citroen Metropolis doesn't deserve to be a 64. Honestly, a 60 at best, I would give it. I can't think of many situations where the Citroen Metropolis would be really good in. Basically, any standard tire saloon or any standard tire situation, this Metropolis would be useless. The only time I would see people using it is if it was rain, French, incredibly twisty. Because if it was just rain French, and it was still like Hairpin Road or Monaco City streets, for example, you would rather use a Bugatti or like a Peugeot E-Legend or something like that, because those have like incredible stats or incredible MRA, and you would try and use all the RQ you can. So the Citroen Metropolis is in a weird space. It's in a weird spot. Definitely not very good. Definitely hot garbage. The next one's a DS7. I'm going to give that frequent provider. Yes, once again, it doesn't handle. It has no MRA. 46 MRI is atrocious, but incredibly cheap to use, so I can't really give it the lowest rank because it still has four-wheel drive and standard tires, high ground clearance even, if I remember correctly. But the most important thing is that it's really, really cheap to use, and you're still getting the benefits of the four-wheel drive, the standard, and the high or medium ground clearance, which is something the Metropolis also provides, but for a lot more IQ. At the same time, both cars don't handle, so they're kind of, you know, in the same category in that sense. Next one is the Honda Legend. It's going to be daily driver. This car really fell down in the pecking order. It used to be up there along with the CT DS before the introduction of the Levorg and the Legacy. It's still a really good like Japanese four-wheel drive standard tire car, but it used to be the best, and now it isn't anymore because the Levorg and Legacy are just so much better. 60 MRA though, which is alright. Four-wheel drive standard tires, 77 handling is still good, but you know, it's just one off the Legacy, and the 0 to 60 difference as well, 6.6 to 6.1. Next is the Jaguar X-Type. The Jaguar X-Type, I'm gonna put it... Don't give it to Kaiser, mainly because it's the British version of the BMW 520d. I said that the BMW 520d is like my go-to four-wheel drive, ultra-rare, standard tire car for the twisty stuff. And the Jag is going to be the same thing like the BMW, but instead for the German stuff, it's going to be for the British stuff. So I think it's only fair that I put them in the same place. They're very similar cars, the same RQ. One has a better 0 to 60, one has better handling. But I have to say, if I were to compare the X-Type and the 520d eye for eye, 520d is better straight up because handling is everything when it comes to these cars. Next is the Mazda CX-9. Now the Mazda CX-9 ain't too bad either. It handles really well and is as cheap as the DS to use. I would put it under daily driver, mainly because when it comes to low RQ standard tire cars, the Levorg is basically the guy that you want to go for every single time. You know, 79 to 73, that's night and day. But the CX-9, you can still get value out of it. It has that SUV niche as well. Daily driver for sure. Next up is the Mercedes-Benz S350. It has 88 MRA, which is ridiculous, but it's hot garbage, unfortunately. It's one of the worst handling cars here. I think it's the second worst handling car here, only behind the DS. The 0 to 60, I mean, 7.5 is disgusting. Top speed is higher compared to other four-wheel drive standard tire cars, but at the end of the day, if you're seeing yourself in a four-wheel drive, or not four-wheel drive, you're seeing yourself in a rain drag situation, standard tires only, maybe not restricted to four-wheel drive only, then you want to use the Maybach long delay. So the only time this car would be useful if you 332 it and it's a longer drag, because I'm pretty sure on a quarter mile it'll probably still lose to cars with much lower 0 to 60s, like example the Citadel and maybe even the Citroen Metropolis for the quarter mile. When it comes to half mile, 1 mile, then yeah, fine, you'll get some service out of the Mercedes-Benz, but it's only very useful in very niche situations, and they never ever show up. Usually when it's the rain, there's usually, you know, some turns, you want handling, you want medium ground clearance because they're city streets. Very rarely you need yourself a four-wheel drive standard tire car for the drag, so because of that, it's hot garbage. Is the Baja Turbo coming up next? Handling is okay. It is one of the lighter cars, coming at 1,588 kilograms, but the 0 to 60 is very weak. It is just a worse version of the Mazda CX-9. I would put it under frequent provider. Suzuki Kizashi comes next, and that is going to be Der Kaiser. This and the Levorg are like two low RQ Japanese, not even Japanese, two low RQ standard tire four-wheel drive cars I love to use. They're both medium, they're both four-wheel drive, they're both standard, they both handle very well, and they both have low 0 to 60s. I mean, low 0 to 60s, okay, not very. Actually, the Levorg 0 to 60 is atrocious, but you know, the handling part is there. The Kizashi is basically the car I want to use when I need to use saloons. Levorg is for the cars I need to use when it's a state hatchback, something that isn't saloon, whatever that thing is classified as. I honestly have no clue. Does it say here in Top Drives Club? I'm not too sure. According to Top Drives Club, it is considered a wagon, so yeah, a state. But yeah, moving on now to the Epic. So yeah, very nice showing from the cars so far. First one is going to be the Acura RLX. Now the Acura RLX is 62.2 MRI, coming in at 1,870 kilograms. Handles quite well as well, I would say. 5.10 to 60. Definitely, I would say a daily driver. Next up is the Acura TL SH all-wheel drive, and this one, I mean, once again, the handling is pretty good. 85 if you can max it out, which ain't too bad. But the bad thing about this is 55 MRI. It's also very heavy, and the 0 to 60 is pretty bad. The Acura TLX at least has a really low 0 to 60, like 4.9 is alright, fair, pretty strong. But the Acura TL SH all-wheel drive, the problem with this, right, is like the handling isn't bad. 77 isn't bad, but it's going to lose to the Subaru Legacy everywhere, and that's an ultra rare. So because of that, and that's an Epic and a lot more expensive to upgrade, I have to put in hot garbage. Next up is the BMW 740D. Now this one actually has decent MRA for a four-wheel drive entire car, coming in at 76. 0 to 60 is okay. 5.2 handling was okay as well. It's an all-rounder, I would say. I'll put it in daily driver as well. You can get value out of it. That's the beauty of four-wheel drive standard tires. You can basically get value out of like the average ones, even just just because of what they are. As long as they just handle a little bit, they're probably gonna get you a win, you know. Next up is the BMW 750D X-Drive, 69 MRA, but a very low 0 to 60. Handling isn't the best thing in the world, but this thing is a bit of a sleeper. Like, this is one of those epics where I think it's pretty bad, but it's actually pretty good, because like I would look back at my card, I have one max, and I'll just be like, oh wow, I've raced it 3,000 times and it has like an 85% win ratio. That's surprising. So yeah, I have this maxed out. I think it was like 3.9 0 to 60 and 82. Something like that. Something like that. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it will do very well, but it actually does pretty freaking well. Next one is the CT6. It's also going to be Der Kaiser. You're getting 87 handling out of this, 71 MRA, low 0 to 60, 4.2. Absolutely amazing. The only reason why it's not Blossom Choice is because, well, should we talk about it right now? The DS Numero 9 and the Jaguar I-Pace. Those three are literal Blossom choices, okay? The DS Numero 9 is taking names everywhere. It is basically the epic version of the Subaru Legacy. You're getting incredibly low 0 to 60. You're getting great handling, 4-wheel drive. I keep forgetting that this is actually an estate and not a saloon. I always think it's a saloon, but it's actually not a saloon. It's actually a wagon. But that thing is ridiculous. The DS Numero 9 is ridiculous. And it's the same thing for the I-Pace. It's got the MRI, 71 MRA, a low 0 to 60 of 4.3 seconds, and the handling is pretty damn good as well. I mean, those three cars are the holy trinity of 4-wheel drive standard tires, if you ask me. Moving on is the Citroen C Experience. This one is going to go into freaking provider. Not the worst of the worst. The handling is atrocious, but at least it has a low 0 to 60. It still has that 4-wheel drive standard tires, so I'll put it in frequent provider, but it's definitely a low frequent provider. But it has MRA though. It is 83 MRA, and it's relatively light, coming in at 1,500 kilograms. Next up is the Ford Fusion Sport, and once again, much like the Acura RLX, I'm going to put it under daily driver. You get the handling out of that, you know, that's the main thing that you really want. It's just an all-around, you know, respectable standard tire car. Next up is the GMC Cyclone, and that is going to be Der Kaiser, one of the few cars where I'm contemplating to move up to Blossom Choice one day as well. Absolutely ridiculous, man, this car. It's relatively light for a pickup truck, coming in at 1,700 kgs, 55 MRA, but it's got a really low 0 to 60, high ground clearance. High, I think it's high. It might be medium, but definitely, it's definitely medium. If not, it might be high. And the handling as well. Really, really good for a mid-range epic RQ car. So, really, really strong car. Definitely Der Kaiser. Typhoon, just a slightly worse version of the Cyclone, so I'll put it under daily driver, completely under it. The Mercedes C350 is unfortunately hot garbage. This thing is trash, man. 67 MRA. It's not too heavy, but it's still, you know, 1,760. 73 handling is bad. That is very bad. 6.173 compared to the Subaru Legacy's 6.178. 5 handling between the two cars. What the hell? The balancing is just not there. The next up is the Mercedes CLA 254 Matic. You're getting 77 4-wheel drive, 76 MRI, pretty lightweight car. But I gotta say, man, I barely get any use out of the Mercedes-Benz. I'll put it on a freaking provider. Next up is going to be the Volkswagens. They all are either... I'm gonna put them all here as Der Kaiser. I'll move the Phaeton down one just because it's the one that handles the worst. I know it has like the best MRA of the bunch, I think. Yeah, so the Phaeton has 68, the CC has 50, and the Arteon has 55. So yeah, the Phaeton has the best MRA, but that doesn't really matter because handling is what is key here. I would say that the best of the bunch is going to be the Volkswagen CC. It just handles the best. But the Arteon is definitely a good car as well. Definitely both of them are Der Kaiser. Yep, I'm putting Volkswagens in Der Kaiser. But yeah, they've got that killer combination, man. The handling, the 4-wheel drive, the standard tires, you can't go wrong with that. And the medium ground clearance. Then you have the Volvo S80, I think, or is it S60? I can't read that. I'm kind of blind. Let me check Top Drives Club because it will tell me. S80 V8. You're getting 76 handling. So once again, the handling is pretty decent, man. The 0 to 60 is alright as well. Pretty average car. A slightly above average car in my opinion because it's 70 RQ. Pretty cheap as well in terms of RQ. Daily driver for sure. And last but not least... That's all garbage. That's all garbage. I get it. The 620i has 87 MRI. Okay, it's 87 MRI, but it goes 74 handling. It's got 74 handling, 5.10 to 60. It's an outdated picture once again. That is the old. That's what the stats used to be. 4.884. Now, if it had the old stats of 4.884, woo, that's gonna be Blossom Choice. But now, with its actual stats of 5.174, it's gonna lose to the Subaru Legacy and the twisty stuff, which is really sad. So definitely hot garbage. I am so sad that I had to 2-star mine, but I guess it was worth it because I won the Peugeot 208 WRX. So that was nice. But yeah, this is one of those weird packs where like it's really freaking good, but you don't want a legendary. Like it's a really quirky pack, and I kind of love it. You know, it's really strong. You're almost guaranteed something that is super useful, but if you get a legendary, that's actually one of the worst cards you can get, which I think is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, that is my final ranking of the 4 Jet Center tires. So like I said, man, if you are a new player, if you're an intermediate player, this is like the pack to open. Take this opportunity now. Take the pack now. Before it goes away. And Hutch, if you're watching, as you can see, I'm completely unbiased. I'll call you out for your bullshit if you release stupid crap like the Weekend Warrior, whatever that family style carbon fiber was. But I will commend you if you release a fantastic pack as such. The 4 Jet Center tire carbon fiber, just really fantastic. I mean, when you think about it, every card, Daily Driver and above, is not only decent, it's good. And every card Frequent Provider and above is decent. But every card Daily Driver and above is like, it's like good. And then as you can see, it's like 65% of the pack. It's insane. Maybe even 70. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Remember, stay safe, wash your hands, and let me know if you found this video helpful. And let me know what you got from this pack. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow down.